Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, May the 18th or 19th, whatever. We're on Asian account, we've got a few rogue class cards to play and then we'll be done. There's a chance that we'll get through things a little bit earlier today in the stream. Maybe, maybe not. It really just comes down to how fast I can burn through a significant amount of games that have come out on Steam. So the first one we have is called Tharn, T-H-A-R-N. It is very minimalistic, and because it's minimalistic, that couldn't hide some poor quality, or it could hide some good quality. It's a Unity game. It says, do you have what it takes to beat them? Solve the puzzles, crack the codes, hack computers, smash glass, or just make a mess for the heck of it. So it looks like it's a locked-in room puzzle. It's 40% off for $1.79. It's not particularly cheap, but also not particularly terrible. Let's see. It has one positive review. It says it deliberately calls to the Stanley Parable. Fun puzzles and jokes, reasonable premise. It's a bit short, still worth the price. So first things first, I would say is if you haven't played the Stanley Parable, you probably wouldn't get the references. This is from a developer who's made one other game that's not rated. Frankly, I'm gonna have to be picky here and say that Tharn just looks like it's not particularly high enough quality to be worth playing, because if it's a Stanley Parable clone, it's still probably too expensive. Maybe you'd be interested in it, but I bet you could find things like the Zero Escape, was it Zero Time Dilemma, the Nonary games. There's several Japanese games that have much bigger story, and they're room escapes. There's several other room escape games, so if you're gonna go down that route and even want to play room escape games, which arguably a lot of people don't, you would have better options to pick from. Gamer Sutra has an article, Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Origins leads to record profits and sales for Ubisoft. This is another one of those financial articles that I'm gonna skip the numbers and just read the headline. Ubisoft now no longer in danger of being taken over by Vivendi. Instead, it is now CBS that's in trouble of being taken over, in danger of being taken over by Vivendi. Ubisoft is thriving for the moment. We'll see how it goes later. Next game we have is a game called Ant Venture. It's a point-and-click adventure casual indie puzzle.
What do you ask of me?
Interesting. Maybe a little bit low quality on the graphics. And let's see, is this developer? No, they haven't made anything at all, but apparently there's two versions of this game. There's there's just one version and a bundle version. Let's see.
Die, mage.
Turn combo. Play this.
Here we go.
As a sucker for point-and-click adventure games, I'm leaning to wishlisting this. Frankly, I'm such a sucker for point-and-click adventure games. I want almost all of them, unless it is reviewed as just a horrible experience, which is to say a lot, because some of the worst gameplay experiences I've had are from some notable and famous point-and-click games. This one has won several awards, Inventor has. And do we have like 1 negative review to 8? And the 1 negative review is not even in English, so I can't read it. Much like hidden object games, maybe $5 is a little bit too much for point and click adventure, but then again, this might turn into a game that is a little bit shorter and not telling a full drawn out story compared to something like Broken Sword. So if that is the case, then that might be a good thing. Not all point and click adventure games really need to be as long as some of the biggest ones. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, The Division 2 will release in the next 12 months, Ubisoft confirms. That's a very undetailed article just from the headline. You would expect a specific date, or at least close to a specific date.
I will be your doom. Ready?
Let's hit this. And then freeze this. PC Gamer has an article, the Steam Link app doesn't quite make the physical Steam Link box obsolete. A few days using the app for iOS and Apple demonstrated inconsistent performance and controller pairing issues. I think inherently the Steam Link is just solving a different problem than the Steam Link app is. Because the Steam Link app, Steam Link device is designed to be a dedicated device that is hooked directly to the back of your TV, where the app is designed to work with a portable device like a cell phone or tablet. So, and the Steam Link app is in beta right now, so hopefully it will get better. Gamatsu has an article, Chinese arcade racing game Fast Beat Loop Racing GT now available for PC. Okay, Steam page. It's rated mostly positive, 72%, 47 users. Let's see what it looks like in graphics. It looks alright, but it's not the greatest. But it seems like it's got a lot of features in it, and it's an actual racing game, racing simulator type game. This is from, it supports English and simplified Chinese. So that's a little bit questionable. It wants $8.99 right now because it's 10% off. Let's see what the negative reviews are, because I'm looking for something something to justify not wishlisting this game, because it looks on the surface pretty good, but I feel like it's probably going to be low quality in something. We have one not recommended, says the game is okay, I'd rather play this game in an arcade. One non-recommended says don't buy this game, the worst game you'll ever play, trust me. If you want to play, go play in the real arcade store, not on Steam. Another not recommended, if your monitor is greater than 60 Hz, you have to change the refresh rate to 60 Hz to play it properly. Save the money for something better and you're welcome.
Versus Lunara.
Here's one that's not recommended, pros and cons. Pros, this game is anime look, which is to say that there's like an anime looking character that people will talk to you while you race. It's okay to play, but not so much fun. The cons are loading takes too long, it crashes and glitches, it's not realistic. The race is too fast, I guess, and the online is empty. Is this a online only game? because that could be an issue. No, it has a single player mode. Yes, I see what this is now. The GT logo is based on an anime racing anime. This is a cheap. It seems, it looks like, my speculation is that this is a cheap Chinese knockoff of an anime. But to be fair, I guess it is still getting 72% positive reviews. Maybe if I came back in a week, those reviews would be a lot lower. So the game might play pretty well. But as far as racing games go for me, I'm not interested in that. Oh man, have I hit the point where I can't even close tabs? I have so many tabs open that I can't even see the X to click them. That says a lot, doesn't it? That's inherently telling me that I need to hurry up. Gamatsu says Utawari Rumano. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that again. Zan launches September 27th in Japan for the PS4. What kind of game is it? It seems like you play as a sword holding character. Or maybe plays multiple characters. Yeah, this looks like a Warriors game where you're just constantly pressing buttons to slash and hack on hundreds of enemies. Maybe it'll come out to the West because it is from the same developer that made Sinrin Kagura Peach Beach Splash and Cyber Dimension Neptunia Forward Goddesses Online, and with those two elements added together, those both came to Steam. I guess there'll be.
Turn to get ready.
Darn it! I played out of order.
Too soon. That was wild.
It'll be questionable whether Sinrin Kagura Peach Beach Splash and some of the other games like that also get warning letters from Steam and maybe even get kicked off Steam. Moving on, let's see. Nintendo and Bandai Namco announced Go Vacation for the Switch. It seems like there's going to be a whole series of games that have Go in the name. Not as in Go the board game, but just as in go do something.
Here we go.
There's a Pikachu Go and a Eevee Go that they're gonna try and sell. In just everything is named after Pokemon Go. Let's see, the vacation has marine and mountain fishing. It has 40 types of animals to photograph and store in your in-game photo collection. Find boxes filled with rewards dropped by plane. Also seem to be able to ride horses. It's an interesting concept of a game. It's also got a bunch of mini games too. But it seems to be kind of all over the place too.
I don't need idiots.
It's not a wave race game, but it may have a little bit of surfing in it. It's not Pokemon Snap, but it has photography in it. It's not a horse riding simulator game, but you can ride horses. It's just full of lots of different activities that I imagine a lot of them are not going to be super interesting too. The game in general seems poorly thought out, and I don't think it's going to be a good game.
Let's see.
Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Jack Hunter detective story, Ghost of Dusk launches this fall in North America. Do we have a full date? Nope, just this fall. Let's see what kind of game this is. I think it's a visual novel of some sort, but it's slightly different animation style, so I don't think it's going to be a dating visual novel as much as it is a detective visual novel, which I'm not sure those really sell in the West, because that's asking something special, so asking something a little different.
For me.
PC Gamer has an article that the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1180 is rumored to arrive in July. Let's see if there's any actual details here. July would be way too early, in my opinion, for it to come out. And frankly, I would hope that if it did come out, I'd still probably want to wait to make sure it wasn't a poorly designed, rushed out device.
Here we go.
Let's see. It says, the second to last paragraph in this article says, unfortunately, sources weren't able to share any technical details, leaving us to look elsewhere. I'll take this as an extra, with an extra dose of salt, but WCCF Tech, according to WCCF Tech, the 1180 will have 3.584 CUDA cores, 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, piping down through a 256-bit bus, and they'll run around 1.6 gigahertz to 1.8 during its boost time. As for reference, the 1080 had 2.56 2,560 CUDA cores, so that would be a significant increase, but not quite doubling in the number of CUDA cores.
Monsters behind you.
And the 1080 had 8 gigabytes of GDR5X memory and ran at 1.6 gigahertz to about 1.7 gigahertz. So it would be an incremental improvement to get to 1180 anyways. However, compared to the 970, that's ideally what I would be looking to buy, assuming I could afford it, which that's a big assumption. Next game we have on Steam is called Spaceship. It looks like garbage, so close that tab. Let's see. Next game we have is called Community College Hero Knowledge is Power. It says part 2, and this is a text-based game, and well, in general I guess I can say all text-based games look like garbage. They just don't interest me at all, so close that tab.
Here we go.
Let's see. Gamasutra has a blog, Games and Visual Identity, so I'll read that later. Don't probably have time for that now. We already talked about that one. Let's see, there's a game called Goroons, Goroons. It's an interesting cartoony look to it. It says it's an indie casual. It's from a developer who's only made one other game. They want $5.99 for it. Looks like it's a platformer of some point, and I can't really tell anything else. And there's no reviews, so this is one of those games where I'm gonna have to wishlist and see if anybody has anything new to say about it. Certainly, I guess I'll go through the motions during the summer sale to pretend like I'm planning on purchasing games, and as I go through the motions, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for games that are on the wish list but don't have any reviews or views, and they've been out for quite a long time. Because if that's the case, I probably should then, at that point, just eliminate them. Maybe I should set a specific amount of time, 6 months, a year. If there's just no reviews on something after a year, I would imagine at minimum that would be more than enough of an indicator that there will never be any reviews for that game, so I would never be able to
Here we go.
ascertain its quality without wasting a bunch of money purchasing questionable games. One game that I think I've already wishlisted is called The Watchmaker. It came out. I wishlisted it early. It still looks slightly interesting. It's 15% off for $12.74. And there are no reviews right now.
Cleanse the Sunwell.
And they say it's like the game Hob, which was another game, and they say it's like the game Snake Pass, which was another game I wanted to play. There's actually been quite a large list of games that came out in the past 12 months that I would have liked to have played. Didn't get around to it for one reason or another. Let's see. Might as well play this.
Nice to meet you.
Turn. There's a game called Fox and Forests that's out right now. Action adventure indie RPG platformer. It definitely looks like an old school NES game, but I'm willing to give this one a chance because I think this is an homage done right and not just a poor quality game hidden with homage. It's 10% off for $17.99. And that didn't work. It's 15 achievements. Let's see. There's one negative review. It's not in my language. This is a game I will have to just wishlist and see if more people play it. It's first time from this developer, but not the first time from a co-developer who also has made My Vet Hotel, My Pet Hotel, My Vet Practice in the Country, which is an odd collection of games. So it says it's being published by a third publisher. They published Victor Varan. So there's a couple of names there behind it too. Just gonna have to keep an eye out for that one.
Your magic shall not save you.
Here we go.
Next game we have is called Mahjong Richie Multiplayer. It says it has single player and multiplayer. It's 10% off for $10.79. It's been patched already. And the first review I see is, in its current release state, this game is very broken. There are several underlying issues that I've found through testing. For those that don't actually know how to play Riki style Mahjong, what I'm about to say won't make any sense. But probably if you don't know how to play that style Mahjong, you shouldn't be buying the game in the first place. So that's enough of a negative to know that that one is not the good one. Not the good one. Here's a weird twist. Out of the blue, a new company, not Hasbro. So I guess this is the license going to a different company internationally. The game Cluedo, the classic mystery game, is available on Steam. And it oddly has a season pass. So I don't know what they're adding to this. This is certainly the newest, or one of the newer iterations of Clue. So they've over the years changed and swapped out characters, updated characters. It seems like you are just playing Clue. They're not doing anything special with the game. You're not really playing in different environments, from what I can see right now. Let's see, I'm looking at all the screenshots just to see. It's a simplistic 3D environment, and as I've seen in many previous versions of Clue that have come out on PC, requires a third-party end-user license agreement. I've really got to see what this season pass is all about, though. The season pass includes the classic theme, international characters pack, the Hollywood theme, the vampire theme, the Snow Peaks theme, the Murder Express theme. More themes to come in regular updates. So get the season pass to get the full Cluedo experience. This is a game that definitely needs to be watched, because so rarely are there good quality board games available. It's $11.99, but the season pass is $35.99 on top of the $11.99. So they're keeping the main game down to a realistic amount of price, but they are charging out the nose if you want to be a season pass holder. In an instance like this, it clearly makes sense to not buy the season pass. Let's see. There are 2 negative reviews. Let's see. Cluedo, but made by EA. That doesn't seem accurate at all. Like, I guess maybe what they're talking about is the fact that it is made by a company that is asking for a very expensive season pass. So yeah, I'll definitely wishlist this. Now, if I was to specifically buy Cluedo, I'm not sure I could play it in any real form or fashion. It would just be kind of boring. We could play one game and do a spotlight, and that's about all I could ever do. So there's definitely some special consideration as a YouTuber that I'd have to consider. Meanwhile, the next game we have that came out is called The Great Race, which is a racing action adventure indie simulation game. It seems like it is a little bit of everything. It seems very disconnected. Like asset flips, really, or experiments in programming.
So many options.
40% off for $5.99. And can we get any reviews? No. It's funny because The Great Race looks kind of good, but it's a weird disconnection from being a consistent style game. Makes it just feel odd. I don't know how I have a better way to say it. It doesn't feel like it's a proper racing game. It doesn't feel like it's a whatever else it's trying to be. So we'll just go and close that. Here's one called Scaralith, or Sacralith maybe, SACRALITH, The Archer's Tale. This is rated positive, 81% for 11 users. It says it's an adventure, action, war, violent simulation VR game. A little bit of everything. It looks like it's a direct ripoff of an Assassin's Creed game. There's a bunch of white-robed characters swinging swords, and I think what you do is this is a VR game, and then you have like a magical ability that lets you freeze time and aim up your arrows and shoot all of the people on screen. Looks like it might be an interesting game. 15% off for $16.99. Has a YouTube review directly linked in the description. Got an award for the White Knights Indie Game Cup, which is a terrible name to have.
Here we go.
Anything. Let's see, are there any negative reviews? Let's see. First, not recommended, says the game is very difficult. It took me several tries just to get past the first 2 levels. The respawn points is at the very beginning of each level, so you lose a good amount of progress. Enemy difficulty dramatically builds very quickly, and the brutes start coming out by the end of the first level. And that's the only English response. And the developer did come back and say something, but I'm not gonna read what they said because I don't have time for that kind of stuff. Since it's a VR game, for me it's easy enough to ignore, but in all fairness, that did look like a slightly interesting game and a good quality VR game in a world full of mediocre quality VR games. Next game we have is a game called Six Generals. I think it's a Chinese only game. Yep, simplified Chinese only. So we'll just skip that. Let's see. We already talked about House Flipper, but it's on Steam now. It's rated very positive at 81% of 501 user reviews. I still don't really find anything I like about this idea as far as House Flipper. I think the concept is going to fall apart. I'd much prefer to play Visceral Cleanup Detail than House Flipper. But when I'm looking at the trailer, it does look like it's a real game. A lot more than what I saw before. It really does feel like you're doing a lot of the work to remodel it. It's 10% off for $17.99, and I guess I'm gonna put it on my watch list We'll keep an eye on it.
Versus Lunara.
But I also could see myself
Forest
just
fights
ignoring
back.
it and
Watch your
never playing it. Let's see. Next game we have is called the Framed Collection, which I think is a puzzle collection. Is it just a bunch of puzzle games? It seems like it's thematically around espionage and a character being framed, but oh, it's a comic book type framing, so you have to drag the frames of the comic book around so that the main character can escape. Interesting. It's 10% off for $8.99. I think it's probably worth keeping an eye on. Nobody has a negative word to say about it as far as the reviews. And it has few awards. And if you're getting a collection that includes the original, well, what does it include? It includes Framed 1 and Framed 2. So 2 games in 1. That's a little bit of a bonus. I imagine even with 2 versions of the game, it's still probably not the longest game to ever be created. I'm trying to play these rogue cards and not playing enough of them. Yeah, let's turn this to the hand and play this the second time. Tech Raptor has a review for the game Spartan Fist that we were kind of thinking about looking at. They give it a 3.5, which is a bad score. The cons are its repetitive battles, broken roguelike structure, and the lack of items and secrets. The pros are frantic combat, jazzy presentation, and voxel folks exploding. Voxel people exploding. So, if I come across Spartan Fist ever again, I'll now know I've seen enough to make me certain that it's not the highest of quality. Here's a weird game on Steam called Setup Developer Tool 2018. It steps the user through the major areas of race car setup and tuning, asking simple questions about the behavior of the car and the user's feel. Choosing from a menu of possible responses. The program calculates the possible setup changes as it steps you through the setup creation process. This doesn't feel like a game as much as this is a simplistic application for tuning a car. Yeah. 25% off for $14.99? I don't think so. I do not think anybody would fall for that scam.
Ooh, monsters behind you!
Let's see, attack here. Move on. Next game we have on Steam is called Soccer Nations Battle. It's a pixel art soccer game. It says it's early access. 40% off for 59 cents. And 1 positive review. I'm not sure I really want to play an 8-bit pixel soccer game. And I'm not sure I would want to play this one from this developer who hasn't made anything else.
Your magic shall not save you.
Hold it! it!
Yes, this developer hasn't made anything else, and because of that, I'll just close that.
Your magic shall not save you.
Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. It's Elf versus Elf in Total Warhammer. Choose next DLC. Guess I probably just wanted to watch this trailer and see what the elves fighting each other would look like. In the cutscenes, the elves look rather interesting looking, but I think in the actual gameplay of Total Warhammer, you probably are just so far zoomed out from a top-down experience that it's called The Queen and the Crown is the DLC. I want to see the main game though. See what that looks like in any of the screenshots. Yeah, it's more of a top-down strategy game than I don't know. Maybe I'd be willing to play Total War Warhammer 2. Maybe not. I'll consider it. I very possibly already own it. Also, that is certainly a potential truth.
Here we go.
Hold it!
Moving on. I sure have run out of conversational topics, certainly. It's very much now just a laid-back covering of games as they're coming out, and it's taken over 100%, where if my first intention, I imagine, was to probably only cover new games half the time and then cover
I don't need any of you.
other news.
Here we go.
If there is other news. Hopefully, a lot of times there isn't. Let's see, this game is Chinese only, so I don't need to talk about that. Let's see. We have a game called Eden Rising Supremacy on Steam. It's 100% positive with 10 user reviews. It says it's early access action adventure strategy. It looks pretty. I'm not sure 100% what kind of game it is. Seems like it might be just a RPG-esque experience. It's got multiplayer and online multiplayer and a bunch of other things. Since it's 100% positive, I'm gonna keep an eye on it. But also, I would also suspect that this game, Eden Rising Supremacy, is one of those games that
magic shall not save you.
could have been super popular, but they're competing against things like World of Warcraft, so therefore it won't be popular. Next game we have on Steam is called Bomb Party. Small, square, voxel-based elements. It's kind of, well, it's, oh, there's a Spleef, which is a game that people played inside of Minecraft, where you blow up the floor or break the floor underneath other people and try to make them fall down. So this is a direct version of, it's a direct rip-off of that game concept. They want $14.99 for this game. That's incredibly expensive. And it says it's single player, but I sort of doubt it. On the other hand, though, I don't think I can fairly eliminate a game just because they're asking a considerable amount of money for it. Instead, I should be just wishlisting it and seeing if it ever goes on sale. And so for that instance, I don't see anything really wrong with Bomb Party, therefore I'm gonna save it. Let's see. Next game is called ZUP, Z-U-P-X, apostrophe X. It is the 10th ZUP game, I believe, that's been released on Steam, but all of them seem sort of positively reviewed too. Doesn't look that interesting to me as far as playing, but it seems to be it's an achievement farming game, is it? That's one of the things. Yes, it is. 2,880 achievements. That's all it is. Okay. I kind of wish Steam was trying to get rid of achievement farming games instead of adult content games. And I cannot for a second believe that their decision to start kicking off adult content games is based on the GDPR, because that's just like
This is our town.
not anything anybody else has been talking about as part of the requirement.
Be your doom.
Here we go.
Next game we have on Steam is called Masters of Puzzles. It's a puzzle game. The big question here is to see how many puzzles are actually in here. Can you import your own pictures? If you can't do that, then it's not good enough to know. It's important to note from the start the puzzle boxes for our game are delivered in the form of DLCs. And a lot of these will be completely free if you own the base game, and you'll be able to get them as soon as they are made available. Others, mostly the illustrations provided by our partnering artists, will have to be purchased because the artists are people too. So it says it's procedurally generated puzzles, up to 4,000 tiles. That's interesting. It's a lot bigger than you normally see as far as the limits. Play with friends or strangers, but that's currently unavailable in early access. How many puzzles does it start with? Listen to your own music, currently unavailable in early access. Expand your puzzle collection, currently unavailable in early access. Like, why in the world are you selling a early access puzzle game at all? So yeah, forget Masters of Puzzles. I do want to see if they've made anything else. Nope, it's the only game that they've even made on Steam.
Reality breached.
PC Gamer has an article, the best way to play board games on PC. I can tell you Tabletop Simulator is going to be the first response, and it is. There's another one called Tabletopia, Vassal, Board Game Arena, Yukata. It was some honorable mentions. I think everything except for Tabletop Simulator, though, is actually just a PC version of a board game that actually exists. Tabletop Simulator really does have a 100% monopoly on that idea. Have we played enough road class boards? Yes, we have. Thank goodness. Alright. So that's that. Let's move over to the European account. And I didn't log into Hearthstone yesterday, so it's very possible that I could have re-rolled something that would have been helpful. We have Fish Tycoon 2 available on Steam. It's not even from the same person that made Fish Tycoon 1. It says it's free to play, so I guess the price is right, but I still don't think it'd be worth your time. Moving on. Defeat 3 Monster Hunt bosses. And oddly, that's all I have to do, so we'll just do it. Alright, cannons do extra damage. Heal. I'll take the heal. And then I don't know what I'm specifically trying to do here, but we'll take the fires. And play. Let's see, next game we have is called Space Elite Force. Let's just quickly look at it. It looks not great. It's 30% off for 69 cents. One positive review.
I am in position.
Wanna play a game?
Yeah, it doesn't look like much. So, Space Elite Force. Yep, I'm gonna go and close that tab. Hey, we got somebody on the chat. Surprised. Yep, it's a troll. Well, better a troll than nobody on a Friday stream. In the turn. Next game we have on Steam is called the RKN Simulator, which I think is probably, this is a political statement of a game. It's from a developer who's made other games that are like rated somewhat positively, so this might be memeing or something. The game itself looks like just whack-a-mole, a one-screen game. So he's selling it for 40% off at 59 cents. It's still probably just barely worth it at that price.
I can't target that.
It's about the game. It says comic game. I think they mean to say comedic game on the topic of blocking Telegram. Try to block the most popular messages because you are able to block everything, even yourself, but not Telegram. Although, who knows? Like, this clearly feels like it's not being written by somebody who speaks English as their main language. No reviews on this game. Just on the fact that it's a one-screen game, I'm gonna skip RKN. Probably a meme game, probably some kind of political speech game. Game Researcher has an article. THQ Nordic saw more sales in 3 months than all of 2017 thanks to Koch Media. THQ's recent acquisition of Deep Silver, the people who own, I guess, Saints Row and Dead Island, and their parent company, Koch Media, caused them to see more sales in 2017 than they did in 3 months than they got the year before. That's a great example of a reporter, me, just repeating what was literally already said. Let's see. This is another financial numbers article, which you can go look up on Game Researcher if you're interested. But it does paint kind of a sad, sort of scary state that THQ Nordic was in. Like, how were they getting money specifically to acquire the publishing rights, at the very least, if not the complete ownership of so many companies before they got in Koch Media, if they weren't making sales? This feels like THQ Nordic is doing exactly what THQ used to do, which is spend too much money on the wrong things.
No problem. Forgiveness.
PC Gamer has an article, Beat a Bad Guy in the digital card game Cultist Simulator. We don't need to talk about Cultist Simulator again. Let's see, we have a game on Steam called Light Cube. Yep, it looks like garbage, so we'll skip that. Let's go ahead and play this, I guess.
Reinforcements be here.
PC Gamer has an article for shooter Wonderkind Shroud. Esports fame was a stop on the way to Twitch superstardom. It seems like PC Gamer specifically went from, for about a week there, writing a story about how all esports players are toxic and how esports players were the worst, which maybe esports players in general just had a bad week. Now to the point where they're writing an article, interviewing, I assume, talking about a famous esports player. I imagine a significant amount of that just boils right down to esports gets PC gamers views if the title has esports in the name, so they'll just always trying to write some kind of article. Here's another game on Steam that's talking about the RKN. This time it's banned internet. So it is some kind of political speech. Maybe something big is happening somewhere and it's just not happening in the West. So I don't have a clue about it. A game called on Steam called Bomb Bomb, which it's mostly an asset flip. It's a 3D kind of Bomberman type game. Characters wandering around while holding on to bombs and throwing them and having life bars. And the concept actually isn't terrible, it's just the implementation is horrible.
Back to work.
Next game we have on Steam is called Flipping Over It, which seems like it's a Getting Over It type clone, with Getting Over It being itself a type clone. Except for this time you're playing as a bird. It's not called Flipping Over It, it's called Flapping Over It. They want $2.99 for this game. I don't think it's worth it. The one recommended review says it's even more frustrating than Getting Over It. A game on Steam called Rex. Looks like a Commander Keen-esque game, platforming and shooting. No reviews. $3.99 with 47 achievements. Says it has 55 levels split into 5 chapters. That seems like quite a lot. I would argue this game may be hurting itself just because of its high price and high length. Rex is just another example of a game that's not visually appealing, so I'm going to close it. Let's see, moving on. Let's do this. And do this.
It's time for a little blow.
Island lover.
Play and in the turn. Gamasutra has a job listing for Digital Extremes as a senior lighting artist.
Ash to ash.
That's all we need to say about that. Next game we have on Steam is called Wolf Balls the Game. I don't know if this is a real game or what. It's like play as a werewolf in a world that is a giant pinball machine with a bunch of sheep running around. I'm seriously confused about what kind of product this is.
Do you want me killed?
If it was a werewolf themed pinball game, I would understand this, but it's not. It's you're playing as a werewolf, not the pinball. Pinball seems like it just kind of bounces around. This game is $4.99. It has one positive review that I don't really trust. I feel like this game is just a joke, and it's from a developer who made a free game that has mixed reviews. So it was an RPG Maker game. At least I have to applaud this developer for not sticking with just one release and never making anything else again in their life. But on the other hand, there is definitely a lack of quality and a lack of legitimate effort, it feels like, that was put into this game. This feels like a joke of a game. So I'm gonna close that. Let's see. Take something and keep on playing. Next game we have on Steam is called Jungle Shoot. It's garbage looking. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to the end. I think I may have
I am in position.
woken up too early and I'm just tired from insomnia issues, so like, I know I have tons of tabs, but I don't even know how to fix this. I think maybe a curated experience Monday. Go through the rest of these games and talk about the ones that are actually slightly worth mentioning.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
And then just play off screen, maybe? Or silent post show? I don't even know how much of that I'm gonna get done. See, I could close a lot of these without even mentioning them.
That didn't go as
Sever my wrath.
cruel.
Let's see. There's a game called Koloro, K-O-L-O-R-O. It's a puzzle platformer, colorful, atmospheric. 15% off for $11.04. And no reviews. But it's interesting looking enough and it has enough polish on this presentation that makes me think it's worth keeping an eye on. Whereas I closed a couple of other games because they certainly
One day,
didn't
I'll
matter.
be a real knight.
Let's see, we gotta play all these.
It's time for me to sever my wrath.
Ubisoft is looking for a senior script writer. I believe that's Ubisoft Montreal. Okay, here's the big story. So we've got to cover this at the very least. And frankly, I should have broken up my recording
We're using real
15 minutes ago and started a new episode.
Who you want me to
Whatever. PC Gamer has an article, lots of people have an article, though Valve appears to be cracking down on sexual content in Steam games. 3 developers claim they'll have to censor their games or face removal from Steam. All the games have anime style visuals and are overtly sexual in nature.
I'm out of mana.
And the turn. Oh, I could. Nope. I could have done that. Darn it. I didn't play right. One of the games is called Mutiny. One of the games is Honey Pop. And one of the games is Tropical Liquor. Also, Honey Pop 2, when that comes out, will be under the same subjection. I think one of the issues here, and I know it's true for Honey Pop, but I don't know if it's true for Tropical Liquor or Mutiny. I think what might be the issue is that Honey Pop specifically does have the content uncensored in the exe executable. It just does. It is a zero data file patch to uncensor Honey Pop. All you have to do is make it a new text file, name it something, and then the game automatically uncensors itself. So even though by default, in its default configuration, Honey Pop is censored, the content, the pictures, which in Honey Pop's instance, there's really only about 20 pictures in the entire game, that content actually is there. Now that gets a lot weirder because inherently what this is going to come down to is a case of 3D skin textures and audio files literally not being allowed in the Steam versions, and therefore it has to be you have to download much larger patches to uncensor it, and Steam has already said that the developer can't actively promote that there's an uncensored patch. Inherently though, there's also some weirdness here because even though today we haven't seen any like sex visual novel anime games, pretty much every week there's at least 5 to 10 that come out, and it's not just all teases. There are uncensored patches and stuff. I really wish Steam would go the other direction with this and just allow a better system to label things properly, make sure they don't end up in the wrong hands, but also actually work with developers to embrace them. I've covered Honey Pop on my channel, and I had to spend a lot of time and effort to censor them, and then YouTube demonetized them anyways. But Honey Pop actually is a good game. It really is, for what it is. Let's see. And these rules are still very confusing and very baffling. Like when you have House Party, which apparently hasn't gotten any warning, it feels like they are specifically targeting Japanese anime themed games, which is the majority of them, and it seems like they're specifically targeting the big ones, which I don't know why you would specifically want to target the big companies instead of the small companies that won't complain. This could be, well, you know, when Campo Santo was purchased by Steam, I did say this was part of my fear, that a kind of known SJW group of people, at least one of the people in Campo Santo were going to infiltrate Valve and push them into more sex negative feminism, which is a big part of the problem with SJWs, is that they're just adapting crazy rules for crazy reasons, and they just don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about, frankly. But don't want to get into a big rant there, but this, I wouldn't be surprised if it is definitely a push from an employee who worked at Campo Santo that's causing this to happen. Although it could be the opposite too. It could be that the reason why this is happening is because somebody in Valve previously has decided to go full SJW, and they also pushed, and it may not just be one people, it may be all of Valve, but then they actually pushed for the Campo Santo people in there. It would be really upsetting for me not to be able to play Honey Pop as somebody who has already purchased it. I don't think that would be fair at all. So I imagine Steam will still offer up some form or version of the game to people who've already purchased it. Even games that even in instances where Valve has no longer done business with a company, people who have purchased the games have always been available. So if Honey Pop did disappear, which I suspect it wouldn't, that would be a groundbreaking first instance of that. Now we're on the Americas account. We've got to challenge a friend. Alright. Well, at this point, I think it's a great excuse to stop talking about the Valve thing, because we need to wait probably a few days and see if this just clears up or if this grows into a much bigger deal. And this is a good point also to stop this recording and start one more recording. I guess I'm gonna go 45 more minutes if I don't have all the news done by the time I get about 45 minutes of gameplay and have the Americas accounts daily quest done. I think I'm just gonna wrap up, and if there's any games worth mentioning on Monday, I will mention them on Monday, but I certainly don't want to go long. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, gift me a game on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.